Welcome to this deep dive into one of the most profound aspects of human psychology, how our relationships shape our minds. Human beings are inherently social creatures. From birth to death, our brains are wired to connect, bond, and interact with others. But this is not just about emotions or companionship. Relationships actually change how we think, feel, behave, and even how our brain functions. In this video, we'll explore the science behind relational neuroscience, how relationships influence brain development, emotional regulation, belief systems, identity formation, cognitive patterns, and even our mental and physical health. This isn't just about romantic partnerships. We're talking about all forms of human connection: parents, friends, mentors, colleagues, and even strangers. By the end, you will have a comprehensive understanding of how relationships are not just part of life. They are integral to how our minds are built and how we experience the world. The social brain, a fundamental truth. The concept of the social brain is foundational in understanding how relationships influence mental function. Neuroscience shows that the human brain evolved in large part to manage complex social relationships. This is evidenced by the disproportionate size of the neocortex in humans compared to other animals. Research indicates that social cognition, our ability to perceive, interpret, and respond to others, is deeply embedded in brain structures such as the prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and temporal parietal junction. These regions light up not just when we are in social interactions, but also when we think about social interactions. Studies in social neuroscience confirm that much of our brain activity, even in solitude, is related to imagining or remembering interactions with others. This suggests that our brains are fundamentally shaped by relational dynamics, whether directly or indirectly. From mirror neurons that help us empathize to oxytocin's role in bonding, the social brain is a testament to how deeply interpersonal experiences are woven into our cognitive and emotional systems. Attachment and early development. One of the most powerful ways relationships shape our mind begins in infancy. Attachment theory, developed by John Bowlby and expanded by Mary Ainsworth, shows that early bonding experiences with caregivers form internal working models of relationships. These models become the blueprint for future relationships and significantly affect emotional regulation, trust, and self-worth. Secure attachment, where a caregiver is responsive, consistent, and nurturing, tends to lead to higher emotional intelligence, resilience, and interpersonal skills. On the other hand, insecure attachments, such as avoidant or anxious styles, can result in emotional instability, trust issues, or difficulties forming healthy relationships. Neuroscientific studies support this. Infants in nurturing environments show healthier development in areas like the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. In contrast, neglect or trauma can alter the development of the amygdala, leading to hypervigilance, fear responses, and difficulty managing stress. These early relationships don't just affect behavior, they structure the brain itself. The connectivity between neurons, the development of synapses, and even the expression of genes can be influenced by relational experiences in early life. Furthermore, the presence of attuned, supportive caregivers helps children develop what is known as mentalization, the ability to understand one's own mind and the minds of others. This is a foundational cognitive skill that supports empathy, social reasoning, and emotional intelligence. In short, our earliest relationships form the bedrock of how we think and feel for the rest of our lives. Emotional regulation, our ability to manage and respond to emotional experiences, is heavily influenced by our relationships. In fact, interpersonal co-regulation is often the first way we learn to self-regulate. As children, we rely on caregivers to help soothe distress and interpret emotions. Over time, repeated experiences of being comforted and understood help the brain internalize these processes, creating neural pathways that allow for better self-regulation. This continues into adulthood. Supportive relationships act as buffers against stress and trauma. When we are with someone we trust, the brain reduces activity in threat detection areas like the amygdala and increases activation in calming systems like the parasympathetic nervous system. Conversely, toxic or unstable relationships can disrupt emotional regulation. Repeated exposure to criticism, neglect, or abuse keeps the brain in a state of hyperarousal, often leading to anxiety, depression, or emotional numbing. Research in interpersonal neurobiology shows that the mind is not an isolated entity. It is shaped by interactions. Our emotional states are co-regulated, often unconsciously, through facial expressions, tone of voice, touch, and presence. Simply put, our ability to feel safe, calm, and emotionally balanced is directly tied to the quality of our relationships. Who we are, or who we believe we are, is largely a social construction. From a psychological and neurological standpoint, identity is shaped by ongoing interactions and feedback from others. As children, we look to caregivers, teachers, and peers for cues about who we are and what we're worth. These messages are internalized and form the basis of self-concept. Whether we see ourselves as capable, lovable, intelligent, or not, much of that stems from relational input. Even as adults, our identity continues to evolve through relationships. Being seen, validated, and challenged by others allows us to refine our understanding of ourselves. Intimate relationships, in particular, provide mirrors that reflect both our strengths and our blind spots. The phenomenon of reflected appraisal, where our self-image is shaped by how we believe others perceive us, is well documented in social psychology. This means that our self-worth can rise or fall depending on the nature of our relationships. Moreover, group identities, such as cultural, religious, or community affiliations, provide a sense of belonging and meaning. These collective identities shape our values, behaviors, and even our worldview. Therefore, relationships do not just influence how we feel, they help define who we are. Beliefs are not formed in a vacuum. From childhood, we absorb ideas, values, and norms through our social environment. Family, culture, religion, education, and peer groups all contribute to shaping what we believe about the world, other people, and ourselves. Neuroscience confirms that belief systems are encoded in neural networks. And because these networks are shaped by experience, they are deeply influenced by social interactions. Relational experiences can reinforce existing beliefs or challenge them. For example, a person who grows up in a prejudiced environment may internalize those biases unless they form meaningful relationships that disrupt those narratives. This is why exposure to diverse perspectives through relationships can lead to cognitive flexibility and empathy. Engaging with people who think differently forces the brain to reconcile conflicting information, which can expand our worldview. Moreover, belief systems are often sustained through group dynamics. Social reinforcement, or social punishment, plays a powerful role in whether we hold on to or change certain beliefs. This dynamic illustrates how relationships shape not just how we think, but what we think. Relationships influence not only emotional and identity development, but also fundamental cognitive processes. The way we think, our patterns of attention, interpretation, memory, and reasoning is malleable and shaped. Thanks for watching. If you want to watch more of this kind of videos, then do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon.